Welcome, everyone. We are live. It's Friday. Oh, yes, it is Friday. It is. You see this topic this morning. Don't look for the answer. Decide it. Decide. That's right, little bit. Decide the answer. Why decide the answer? You see, I read a question this morning out there in those Reddit streets. The question was, why do you believe in manifestation? And I was like, manifestation? This has nothing to do with manifestation, sir. This has to do with the principles of creation. You see, when we fixate on a thing, we just look at manifestation. We say, well, oh, this isn't working. This isn't happening. Because people don't grasp what it actually is, right? They're just told, and this is, even though it's part of a Neville group, I think that's one I was banned from. I don't remember. um, Even though it is a Neville group, people get lost in it. But when you know what Neville knew, which is the principles, this is what he had to comprehend when Abdullah said to him, "You are in Barbados." Abdullah was like, "You're in Barbados. You just decide that you're there." And Neville didn't understand at first. What do you mean, I'm in Barbados? I'm looking down the street. This is not Barbados. There's no coconut trees. There's no rastas on the side of the road. This is nothing here. How can I be in Barbados? Now, good old Confucius said you can travel the world without ever having to leave your house. Thoth the Atlantean said, close your eyes and you're there. You want to be at the beach? Close your eyes and you're there. How and why? It is through the feeling. You know how scientists tell you that your brain doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is make believe? You can trick your brain. Listen, my beautiful friends, you're not tricking your brain. You cannot trick your brain. It follows. You tell it what you feel, and it feels it in your body. So you're not tricking it. See, we've got to let go of that thinking that you can trick your body. You're not tricking your body. You are telling your body, I feel. And your body says, oh, yes, I do feel. I feel what you tell me. Now, how does it feel what you tell it? Because you decide. If you sit here and you reminisce and you say, oh, do you remember? Right? 25th September, right? Like, do you remember? You can sit here and you can retell a story, right? Of something you have experienced in the past. Or you can tell the story of something you would like to experience now. Either way, your body's going to feel it. Your body feels it. When your body feels something, it is real. Mm. This is quite like how, if you want to understand phobias, all you've told your body is, what's a phobia? A phobia is an irrational fear. All you're telling your body is, see that? That. I don't like that. I really don't like that. And your body begins to feel it in such a way you trip right out. You crash out. But is that thing real? When we were in high school, we had this girl. Uh, she got motion sickness real easy. It was actually quite funny, but it wasn't. And so sometimes the guys in the front row for choir would sway like the ocean, and she'd just get green. There is no water around. She's not on a boat, but they are moving like they are. And she would just get green. She decided that she was on the ocean. So her body says, but we don't like the ocean. We don't like that feeling because we get nauseous. And she would really go green. She decided she's looking at the classroom. She's looking at her classmates. But she decided, well, I'm on the ocean. And this is why her body responded in the fashion that it did. Not because she tricked it. No, she believed it more so than the very solid ground she was standing on. And so every time that's how they'd get her. You'd be talking, they would just, this is how mean they were. God, you gotta love students, eh? They'd be talking to her and they'd just rock, right? They'd just rock side to side, like just real subtle. Just real subtle. You're talking to her and you just move from left to right a little bit, just. And she's like, dude, I'm gonna vomit. Can you stop? So how does that apply to your everyday life? You see, we keep looking for answers. This is not a mathematical equation. 4 times 4. What is that answer? 16. We're not looking for answers like we're trying to solve a puzzle here. When you want to experience a change in your life, you must determine what that change is going to be. You don't hope for the change. You don't look for the change. You decide the change. When you go out to plant your garden this spring, you will realize that you sit at your table and you ask yourself, girl, what you want to eat this year? What we gonna plant? Well, I want to make some pickles this year, so I'm gonna plant me some cucumbers. Beets, they pickle nice too, so we gonna plant us some beets. You sit there and you decide what to plant in your garden. You don't call your sister, girl, I don't know what to do. My life is falling apart. I don't know what to plant. No. You decide what to plant based upon what you like. What do you want to eat? Remember, if you plant for you got to plant for the squirrels too. We learned this at an early age in Barbados. Don't just plant for you because the monkeys will come along and they will eat it all. So plant for you and plant for the monkeys too, so that everybody wins. That's the first rule of gardening in the Caribbean. Plant for the monkeys too, because they want their share. Okay? So you look at your life and you've decided, I want to change. Let me ask my friend what I should become. Is that what we do? No. If you look in that mirror and you say, girl, this is not going the way I would like it to go. How would I like it to go? How do I want to get out of bed in the morning? What kind of mood do I want to jump out of bed in? What kind of mood? When I drive my car, what kind of mood do I want to be in? When I go to the grocery store, what kind of mood do I want to be in? You decide that. Because something happens when you make a decision. Your body responds when you make a decision. Oh, yes, it does. The moment, when we hear our stomachs go, you hear your stomach growl and you're like, ooh, I should eat. You've decided. And you ever ask someone, what do you feel like eating? I don't know. You realize you don't eat. But when you say, I want to eat ... You go and you get it, and then you're satisfied. But you notice that if you don't eat what it is, that you wanted, you don't feel satisfied? What does that tell you? It tells you that you are the one with the power to decide. But somewhere along the line, you can speculate all you want. The point is, we know because we can see it. Somewhere along the line, something was whispered throughout the world. You don't have any power. Just do what I tell you to do. You'll never make it happen anyway. You are my prisoner. We've heard that our whole lives, over and over and over again, whether we've heard it by way of words or we've heard it by way of things that we've experienced. But I am here to tell you that that is a lie. You do. I got the power. You do have the power to change your life. You just have to make a decision. Oh, but you can't trust yourself. Mm. You can't trust yourself. How many times have we heard that madness? If you listen, my granddaddy, gotta love that man. You have to trust yourself. You can doubt everybody else, but you must trust you because it's you, it's your body that you feel these sensations in. So when you want to make a change, you look inside yourself. Ah, goody moves. My word, darling. You know I sent for you out of the ether this morning. Shoot, you sent for me. It's been a while, hasn't it? Mm, I love seeing you. Mm. Anywho, I'll welcome everybody shortly. Don't worry. But what is it that you want to become? You have to decide what that is. Yeah, but Angela, what if I decide and I'm wrong? What now? What if you decide and you're wrong? Who tells you that you're wrong? You see, when we allow ourselves to be mentally impregnated by others, meaning somebody says, girl, nobody's done that before. That's not possible. You can't accomplish that. Well, that's too difficult. Okay, you're gonna believe that? What is their supporting evidence? What is their supporting evidence that they can tell you it's not possible? Oh, you mean because they haven't seen it done? That's their evidence? Well, here's the evidence. When you say to yourself, I'm changing as of now. Here's the mental attitude that I want to practice. Because this is what we practice. The mental attitude. When you want to do something, it has a mental attitude that accompanies it. Why do you think sports psychology is such a big field? They want to study the mind of the athlete, right? They tell you an athlete knows how to put themselves in a particular mental space. That is not exclusive to athletes. All humans can do it. However, you see it in the athlete and you marvel at it and you go, oh my God, that is so cool. How do I get to do that? You know how they do it? They have an image in their minds, first of all, of what they want to do, what they want to be. You know, the backflip, the tumble, the double pass, the whatever, these little tricks that they do. Walking on that balance beam in the rings, the pole vault. You ever seen somebody do the pole vault? Oh my goodness. My whole stomach is just way up in my brain at that point. I just cannot. Can you imagine running down there on and then you stick this pole in a little tiny hole, bend it, and then launch yourself? You know what? Miss me with that, I'll tell you. But they see it in their mind's eye. They run it through there first. They run it through there first, mentally, every single time. You are no different from an athlete because the all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. So you don't run around looking for the answers. You decide what the answer will be. And how do you decide what the answer is going to be? You ask yourself, what do I want to become? What do I want to become? And when you ask yourself what you want to become, and you answer it, that person that you want to become has a mental attitude, a way they would walk, a way they would talk, a way they would interact with people. For instance, I keep hearing this one a lot. Whew, it's so hard to talk to women nowadays. Is it? Or is that your perception that it is? So if you change your mental attitude to realize that you are a confident human being and the person you want to talk to is also a human being, how do human beings communicate? Hey girl, how you doing? I like them shoes. This is how human beings communicate. We speak to one another. So whatever that attitude is you have on the inside will dictate your behavior on the outside. So, what is it that you've got going on inside? I'll know based on when you talk to me. Oh, but of course, I'll know. Just like you'll know. You cannot be seen without first showing yourself. You have to show yourself. So, what is that person that you want to become? Who is it? You see, this is why we get stuck with manifestation because we keep thinking, I want, I want, I want. The principles tell you, as within, so without. You have to become. Well, how do you become a car? How do you become a husband? How do you become a wife? How do you become anything? The mental attitude. As Neville Goddard so poetically put it, the mental mood. He says, catch the mood. I'm in the mood for love. So if you are in the mood for love, see, if y'all don't know Alanis Morissette, she didn't always start out with that angst, yeah? She had love. I want to feel your love right from the bottom of your heart to your head, right? She had that song. Don't come for me, Alanis. Telling your secrets. Love. I want to feel. What do you want to do? I want to feel. How does what we call being in love feel? How does it feel? How would driving down the road in your brand new car, how would that feel? I don't want you to tell me how it feels. I want you to feel how it feels. You see the difference? This is the difference between looking for the answer and deciding what it is. How does it feel to you to know? To what? To hope? No, to know that you are becoming the man or the woman you want to be. How would that feel to you? Now, Neville always says, do it until it takes on the tones of reality. But you see, sometimes we get caught up in that too. You and I are living every day. So if you were jumping in the shower, because we all shower, hopefully, um, you're jumping in the shower. How would you jump into the shower safely, right? Don't want to slip in there. Not pretty. How would you jump into the shower if you knew that your business was successful? and you had so many clients, you had to have a wait list. How would that feel to you? Because we get in and out of the shower naturally, right? How would you feel if you had to poop on the potty? Oh, Angela, don't be crass. We all poop on the potty naturally, do we not? So, how would that feel to you? Because you sit there, right? Depending on what you're doing, and thoughts go through your head. How would that feel to you if you were like, oh my God, how am I going to serve all of these people? I need to hire somebody. I need more help. Whew. Okay, what am I going to do today? Okay, I got to fulfill these many deliveries, blah, 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 blah. You sit there and you plan that out and you feel a certain way. Now we all get in and out of bed. How would you get into bed at night knowing that you still didn't finish serving everybody for your business? You had to say, listen, I need a little bit more time to get the stuff out to you. How would you feel knowing that you were successful? How would you get into bed and get out of bed? All of the things that you do naturally, how would you do them if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be? You see, it is not what you want, it is what have you become, is what we're getting at. So, how would you comb your hair? All of the things you do naturally. If you're sitting and you're eating something, you know how you got to do something and you're sitting there and you're eating and you're like, oh, man. Sometimes, like my dad, my dad would sit there and put his head in his hands. And that's when I knew this man was in some serious thought. Because he just sit there with his head in his hands. And I'm like, what is he possibly thinking of? What would you be doing naturally? You see, we tend to want to manifest from a place of hypotheticals. We don't live hypothetically, we live naturally. So, all of the things that you presently do now, all the things you presently do now, how would you be doing them? What mental place would you be doing them from? That is how you decide. Yes, that's how you decide. We don't look for the answers, we decide what they are. Oh, but Angela, I don't know if I believe that. I find it rather interesting, rather intriguing, actually. How sometimes we want to jump to believe something that's not good. But when you hear something good, you say, nah, I don't buy that. Well, here's how you test it. Because what is the point of practicing if you don't play it out? Watch yourself as you go through the day. Now, here's how we do it. We have this word, a fancy word called coincidence. Oh my God, what a coincidence. I was just thinking about you. And they show up where they call you. A coincidence, that's how you test it. Because what does a coincidence show? A coincidence shows that what is within is what you are presently encountering on the outside. Is it not? Think about it before you respond. A coincidence. You didn't just say, oh my God, what a coincidence, because you could talk. You said, what a coincidence, because what you were thinking about, what you were feeling, is what you experienced on the outside. Girl, I was just finna call you. You must have read my mind. That coincidences are, that word is just vile because it makes you think you're not in control. The word is correspondence. As within, so without. As above, so below. What is within has to match what is on the outside. So when you decide who and what you want to become, and you begin to ponder that, and think and live and breathe from that mental place, you will live it out. Not because I say so, but because you are training yourself to live it out. How are you training yourself? Well, you see the mood that you're in most of the time, habitually. I know we all know that one person. If you don't know who that person is that complains all the time, then it might just be you. Right? It might be you. You could call their name. Oh my gosh, he never has anything good to say. Why she always gotta be so blah, 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 blah? Oh, what are you doing? So now every time you see that person, your whole body anticipates them to be what? Cranky and complaining. You see, you're the one. Listen, we hold each other in those places. In Jamaica, they say bad mind. Huh? Because you're thinking about that person in such a way. Every time you see them, you think about them in that way and they behave in that way. But what if you thought about them differently? Hmm? What if you thought about them differently? Well, then they would become what you thought about them. Because you can't be made a liar of. You know how we love to say, you see, I told you. I told you that's what it was like. The principle of correspondence exists for that very reason, to always make you be right. So the next time you see somebody, you say, I am always right. Because you are. As within, so without tells you that you're always right. Henry Ford said it this way. He says, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. It wasn't being fancy. It's just the principle of correspondence. So when you want to make a change in your life, step one, you're not asking anybody's permission to change. What, you're living for George now? The fastest way to make yourself unhappy in this world is to live for somebody else. Because, listen, how quickly do you and I change our moods? One day we like it, the next day we don't. Do you want to be at the mercy of that? Well, then you must live for yourself. What does that mean? It means when you decide that you want to make a change in your life, you don't factor in your mother's opinion, your father's opinion, your granny's opinion. What's that got to do with them? They're not the ones living your life. Oh, but if I go against them, I'll be disowned. You can't disown yourself, so you're never disowned. Yeah, but I gotta be this. No, what do you want to become? That is step one. What do you want to become? You can look at what you are right now and say, well, that's not for me. Well, then what is? We don't leave things up to chance because there is no chance. There's no roll of the dice. If you roll the dice long enough, you'll see the pattern emerge. And that will tell you there is no chance. There's always a pattern. And the pattern depends upon you, the one forming it. That's what that double slit experiment is telling scientists. That the way you see it is the way it will respond. It cannot respond in any other way because you are the one looking. So that tells you you are the one to decide. Oh, but Angela, I'm scared. What if I get it wrong? The principle of correspondence tells you you are always right. If you plant corn, what will you reap in the fall? Tomatoes? No, you will only reap what you have planted. So you are always right, not because I say so. The principles tell you you're always right. It's not fancy things. It's natural. Oh, but that's just nature, Angela. And so you thought that nature was just random? No, my darling. Nature is precise. And nature is precise because of the principles. So you are precise. So this thing, this life that you're presently living, and you say, well, I don't want to live like that. I want to live like this. Good. There's a mental attitude, which is step 2. There's a mental attitude that accompanies what you want to become. How do you recognize a mental attitude? As within, so without. So the behavior. A coward behaves in a particular way. A confident person behaves in a particular way. Yes? They all have a pattern by which they show themselves. So what is the pattern that matches what you want to become? There's a mental attitude to it. So, as Neville so poetically says, you begin to experience in imagination. Imagination? Yes. You know, the part that I don't get to see. Nobody else gets to see it but you. Because it only matters to you. So you begin to experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. So what would you be doing? How would you be doing it? Doing it and doing it and doing it. Well, how would you be doing it? And when you get that, when I get that feeling, right? When you get the feeling that matches what you want to become, oh, that is what you rehearse. Now, here's what's happening to you when you rehearse it. When you rehearse, you are setting down a neurological pathway in your brain. Scientists would tell you that neurons that fire together wire together. Now, why is that? So that you can do that thing the same way every time. So that you can be right when you do it. So, no, you are not pretending as you imagine. You are rehearsing as you imagine. And what you rehearse mentally, which is masculine, remember, it's invisible. You can't see it yet in the outside world. But what you rehearse, which is masculine, you will have to embody or do it, which is feminine. Feminine equals form. That is how you can interact with it in the outside world, which is the principle of correspondence, as within, so without. The seed planted on the inside bears the fruit that you must eat on the outside. So, what is that mental attitude that you're going to rehearse? Some would say, well, let me do it by using affirmations. You see, we don't want to be saying things idly. You want to do things deliberately. Do it deliberately. Right? So that when you know that what you are doing is training your brain to be a certain way. Why are you training your brain to be a certain way? So you can act it out. So next time you say to yourself, but I don't know what to do. What do you want to do? What do you want to live like? You decide. Don't look for the answer. It is not in any book. It is all around you, though. It is all around you. Every day you go outside and you see them, they're trees. If you're up where I'm at, next week, allegedly, we're getting 20 centimeters of snow. It's winter, y'all. But somehow we forgot it was winter because that's Chinook. That warm wind just melted all the snow we had, and we thought we were in spring. We even started to behave like we were in spring until Mother Nature said, mind yourself. You decide. But what if I didn't ask you what if? Because the same way that you can say, but what if it doesn't work out? You can turn around and say, oh my, but what if it does? They're exactly the same thing. One of them makes you feel real good, though. Which one is that? Oh my, but what if it does? What if it does? And the moment you begin to ask yourself, but what if it does? What if it does go my way? You're literally wiring your brain for it to go that way. So, no, you are not pretending or faking it till you make it. No, you are rehearsing it until you play it out. Day in and day out, that's what we're doing. Rehearsing it until we live it out. That is exactly what you and I are doing. And listen, I'm learning this more so than anything else, especially from baking sourdough bread. We're so used to using yeast that we know we can time it when it's going to rise and blah, blah, blah. But when you are using sourdough, you mix your flour with your water in equal parts and you just let it sit there. There's nothing you can do after that. That is going to expand, the flour in the water is going to expand based upon what's the temperature in the kitchen. If the temperature is warm, it'll expand faster. If it is cooler, it'll expand slower. Cause and effect. And the way you mix that dough and the way it feels in your hand, you actually become more intuitive when you work with sourdough. They always tell you stop watching the clock because it will deceive you. You say, oh, it takes between 8 to 12 hours for that thing to double in size. So you got the timer set. But when you go look at it and it doesn't look like it has risen to you because you don't know the signs to look for, that's what we do in the outside world. We keep looking at the clock to ask, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? When you lay down the neurological pathway for it, it will happen. You will struggle to tie your shoes until you have practiced enough so that you can tie your shoes with your eyes closed, which means what? It means that you've told yourself, we're learning to tie our shoes. I'm learning to be this type of person. So I will practice being this person over and over and over and over and over and over until when I shut my eyes, I don't have to practice anymore. I just do because I've just become that person. This is what manifestation is. What have you wired yourself to do? So the next time you hear, you don't get what you want, you get what you are, you'll understand what that means. It means you are hardwired to be that thing. Thus, you have to live it out. So, what does that mean, Angela, if I need more money in the bank? When you go to pay your bills, when you go to the grocery store, what do you say? Oh my God, look at the price of that. I can't afford that. Is that the attitude? If that is the attitude, what can you expect? As within, so without. You say, I cannot afford that. You wire yourself to not afford it. I'm telling you, I'm not asking you. So this is now when you practice and you go to the store, that's some of the hardest thing. I'm being real with you here because we all got a grocery shop. And we look at the price. You drive down the street, you look at the price of fuel, you say, woo, that's a whole lot of money. But what if you start to say, oh, I'm lining up my finances for this. I'll get one. I'll do this. And you start to behave in the way that you would. Because naturally, if you had the money, you would not say, oh my God, I can't. You would say, oh, that's on my list. You put it in your cart. Now, at first, everything within you rebels to say, heifer, you crazy. You think you're gonna run out of this store? They gonna track you down. That security guard is gonna throw you on the ground. Stop, thief! Listen, it'll make you feel like you lying to yourself, but you're not lying to yourself. What you've just discovered is the pathway you already have set. And that's what you want to do naturally. You want to do it the way you've always done it. That's what you're coming up against. That's what resistance is. Just the neurological pathway that you have presently. But when you continually practice, you will realize that things ease. Things ease, and it gets easier for you to go, oh, yeah, that's on my list. I need that. Put it in the cart. And you'll get to the till. And it's funny because everybody does this. You know, when you tap your card and it does a little swirly thing, everybody says, be approved, be approved, be approved. And then it goes, approved. And you're like, whew, right? And I know we've all done it. That's just the way we've wired ourselves. It really is. Sometimes I don't know how I do what I do. I hear people say, but that's so expensive. Listen, I go to the farmer's market because this took me a long time. It did, to experience in imagination what I would be doing in reality if I were the man or the woman I wanted to be. Because I was like, oh man, I don't know. I don't think I can. And I remained in the pathway that I was doing. But then I started and I remembered what Neville said. And so every time I would catch myself saying, I can't afford that, I would go right back to what would I be doing? And that's where I would put myself mentally. And I would practice it for just a minute or two because shoot, can't hold it that long. Right? I'm still working it out. And you got to get that muscle strength in there, that muscle memory. And so I would do that over and over and over and over until I found myself being able to go to the farmer's market to get what I needed from the local farmer so that we could eat healthier and without having to clutch my pearls. Why? Because every single time I caught myself wanting to say or feel, I can't. I said, whoa, wait a minute. Is that how I would behave? Is that the mental attitude I would walk with? No. Well, what would you be walking with, Angela? And then I'd start to do it. And I'm like, okay, you're right. Thanks for reminding me. Until I didn't have to be reminded anymore. So when Neville Goddard says to persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, he's not telling you to be magical. He's telling you to keep rehearsing it until that neurological pathway is set. That's what you're doing every time you do a state akin to sleep. Every time you do a state akin to sleep, which is to put yourself in a light trance, if you will. Just to imagine. Can you imagine? Right? Why do you think all these commercials sometimes will tell you, oh, imagine what your life could, they all start with that word, imagine. Anyway, don't look for the answers. Decide what they are. Decide. You have nothing to fear. Are you scared when you plant something? You scared when you go to the roadside stand and pick up some fresh summer peaches? You're hoping that he planted a peach tree? Or do you know he planted a peach tree? How else would you get peaches? So you don't have to hope. Remember, you are always right. And that is not an idle affirmation either. How are you always right? The principle of correspondence tells you, as within my bosom, so without in the world. What is within me? Scripture would tell you, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. That is the principle of correspondence. What is within has to come out. Hmm? Hmm? Hmm. Anyhow, Mr. Stafford Jr. is kicking it with us today. Well, hello, sir. K-Frame Classic. Ow. How you doing? Oh, my sweet KZ is omnipresent today. Oh, he is everywhere today. I see you in these fan-based streets and in these YouTube, Facebook streets. I see you, darling. Goody Moves, listen. Goody Moves is on UK time. Hey, girl. It's been forever, forever, ever, forever, ever. Yes, it has been. But we always seem to pick up right where we left off, don't we? You gotta send me a note so I know how you're doing, okay? Melly Mel is in the house. Hello, Melly Mel. I see you, darling. I wonder if the better man is here. Liza, darling, perhaps? Ray of sunshine? I see you. Twitter, well, Twitter is for the replay gang. Who's on fan base? Matthias was here, but, he had to get to work. Miss McQueen. Hello, darling. My Scotch bonnet. Ray is in the house. And always, my sweet KZ is here. Listen, thank you for being here on this glorious Friday. And I will see you again on Monday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, fan base. And remember, for the love of God and all things, hit me up on positivelyangela.com. And whose name did I forget to say? Well, I didn't forget, I just remembered. Ow. Baba 200. Baba 200 is in the house. Yes, he is. So go forth today and acknowledge where you are and what you're doing. And decide what you want to become. And select that mental attitude and rehearse it the way you would get in and out of bed, the way you would poop on the potty, the way you would shower, the way you would chew your food, the way you would put your hat on, your shoes on, your drawers on. Because that's how we live, right? Those are the things we would do naturally, not hypothetically. And you practice, and you practice, and you practice. Why? Because the neurons that fire together, they wire together. Why? So that you can do it that way every time. Oh, you mean a habit? Yes. Now, you'll know a man by his habits, will you not? According to Alan Watts. So that's how we do it. So every time you listen to Neville Goddard and he says, put yourself... Yes, I hear you, sugar. I'm coming to feed you. Don't you rush me, sir. In more ways than one. rush me. So every time you hear Neville tell you, persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, that's what he's telling you. Practice, practice that mental attitude, that mood, every opportunity you get. Why? So that you can wire those neurons together in your brain. That's what you're doing. He's not telling you magic. A little bit is something else. Because I'm going to go in that room and he going to rush me. Talking about what took you so long. Thump, thump, thump. Anyway, y'all, I love you and thank you for being here today and hanging out with me a little bit. And you can't hear Lady, but she's there. She's there. She's broody. She's back in that corner. But I am counting how many days. It should be 21. Anywho, you know I love you. You know that I love you. And I will see you on Monday. All right. Monday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. PositivelyAngela.com. Love you. Mwah.